Hello, I'm the Dark Master and welcome back to my LEGO reviews. In today's video, we shall be covering set number 71730, Epic Battle Set, Kai versus Skulkin. It comes with 61 pieces in 3 bags and 2 minifigures. Let us start this review, as always, with those minifigures. From left to right, we have Epic Battle Kai and Legacy Whiplash. Let us do the hero of the set first. Epic Battle Kai was a cool figure, and starting from the top has a cool hairpiece that combines his messy brown hair with a red bandana. It is a nice dual-molded piece first seen on the island subwave of Ninjago. While not anything new, it looks and performs well and has some excellent molding. Going down from the hair, we see his face print is the exact same face print Kai has used since the Ninjago movie, which was quite a while ago. It has some slight battle damage indicated by a band-aid on his eyebrow. One side has a cocky smile of confidence, while the other possesses a serious scowl. It's hard to give new thoughts since we've seen this head printing so much over the years, but it is perfectly fine for what it is. Beneath that is a red bandana. It's, again, a fine piece, but as I've stated before, it's nothing new for the series. Going further down from there, we see his torso printing is that of a rather tight-fitting white t-shirt that shows off the ninja's giant pecs. It's quite distinctive compared to the red ninja robes Kai normally dons in pretty much every other figure, and it has a reddish symbol with Ninjago on his right chest area. Going to the back, we see a slightly less detailed shot of the white t-shirt, with a much enlarged version of the red symbol seen on the front, and you can much more easily read out the letters there. Overall, it's a really unique printing that we haven't really seen before. It kind of gives me Street Fighter vibes. He has no sleeves, which is shown by him having yellow arms and red gloves, quite utilitarian in nature. Going down to his legs, we see he has bright red pants with a black belt and an asymmetrically positioned yellow flame pattern. Honestly, it looks pretty cool and distinctive alongside the white shirt. In terms of weapons, Kai wields a sword that has this neat golden dragon hilt piece that we've seen before, but is always nice to see, as it has a unique mold. However, far more new is the sword piece which is used here. It is slightly controversial. Some say it looks grotesquely cartoonish, but I don't know. I find it does resemble a sword being slashed through the air really well, as you can see the sort of wave-like pattern that's emitting from the sword. It's also very fiery, as it's been molded in translucent orange. And as we all know, orange is the new black. Overall, Kai here is an excellent figure and a nice reimagining of the Fire Ninja. Now let's go to the villain of the set, the Skulkin warrior known as Whiplash. On top of his head, we see he wears a tan-colored bamboo hat, similar to the one worn by Sensei Wu. Going down from there, we see he uses that new skull headpiece introduced in the first wave of Legacy and has been seen in several different variations over the years. It's not the first time we've seen this piece, but this time it has a far more detailed printing, with an open mouth and some gray scars and facial marks. He is missing a tooth from his scowling maw. Overall, it's a nice piece that has a good new printing and is an excellent reimagining of the original Skulkin skullhead, which is comparatively far more bulky and outsized. Plus, it allows more customization thanks to the stud on the top of the head. Going down from there, he has black paladins, which are sufficiently meticulously malicious, but somewhat forgettable. Going down from there, we see he has a skeletal torso piece that has some printing in the front, including battle damage on the chest and a blue loincloth to cover up. I'm actually not quite sure. I mean, he is a skeleton. He doesn't exactly have anything down there, so I don't know why he even wears it. It also has some really excellent printing with the rib cage sticking out more. If you go to the back, it lacks printing, but has a far more prominent backbone. Overall, this torso piece is just frankly amazing. Going to his arms, sadly, I cannot say the same thing. They are basic white skeleton arms, which we have seen for over a decade at this point, with no wrist articulation. Similarly, we see his legs are white and are very old piece. The small feet, sadly, means that they are unfortunately very easy to be knocked over. It's a real shame they got rid of those old style of feet they used to use, which were much broader and thus weren't as likely to be pushed over. In terms of weaponry, he wields a silver dark blade, which is nothing new but is pretty intimidating due to its massive size. Overall, this is a good bad guy that gets the job done well, excellently. Now that we have covered the minifigures, let us discuss the pieces of the set. These pieces include a wide variety of plates, a yellow leaf piece, and an entire set of these cool pieces that are meant to be weapons. It's nice to get all these bonus pieces, though I must admit that the nunchucks, out of all of them, don't really look that good. I mean, I can barely even tell they're meant to be nunchucks. Unlike the others, which still look how they should look in movement, these honestly look more like a curved sword than anything else. The other pieces, while useful, are admittedly just kind of generic. But what these pieces build? How is the build? How is that? Well, in total, there are 3 builds, and I shall be covering them from smallest to largest, and arguably from least important to most important. So let us start with, well, the least of them. The first build is this strange hand thing for a red spinner that you can place a minifigure onto to perform spinjitzu. I mean, it's fine and it gets the job done, but honestly, the fact that this set lacks a true spinjitzu piece and only comes with one so that you can't even really have the two fight it out if you want to, means that it really feels tacked on, especially compared to previous sets that involved spinjitzu. Like, really, I mean, I wish they had just taken the 7 pieces in constructing this and just put it into the other 2 builds, because honestly, it's just not that memorable. It's just kind of there, really. Speaking of those, let us begin covering the other 2 builds that are of a far higher quality. First, we got this little wooden dummy that's meant for spinjitzu training. It has a wide, sturdy base and a segment that allows it to spin around relatively freely. Interestingly, in its construction, it uses skeleton feet in brown as arms, which is a nice recolor and a very interesting parts usage. It also has a minifigure head unprinted in brown. On top of that, we see it wears a golden bamboo hat. It's a neat little training dummy. We've seen these before in other sets, but it does have a little bit of charm thanks to the texture provided by the skeleton legs. Now, the main build is this large Eastern style gateway. Supposedly, according to some sources, it's meant to be representative of Kai's parents' blacksmith, though some claim it's actually meant to be the fire temple. But really, it's so oversimplified. I don't really see a resemblance to either of those builds, or really any previous builds at all. It's just this vaguely oriental infrastructure based design. It does have a nice build though, and it really gives off that sort of flair of Ninjago. And it does have this nice yellow piece used for the tree here. And that tree can rotate around backwards and forwards at two different points. But really, this build, though it is very good and I enjoy it, really isn't representative of any other build well enough to warrant that being a comparison, really. So overall, what are my final thoughts on the set? Well, admittedly, it is rather small, but it is cheap and has a lot of good features. It has two amazing figures, Kai and the Skulkin. Both were really done well. Two decent little builds, one being a sort of monastery, and of course, the dummy is also humorous. Admittedly, the third build is slightly forgettable, but I would recommend getting this set. As I mentioned before, it's pretty cheap, and plus, it's always nice to get these small little things for people who just don't have the money to afford like the mega sets. So I would recommend it if you're tight on budget and you want to get something little, little for your relatives. Anyway, I am the Dark Master, and join me next time on my Lego reviews. Have a good day.